So I'm going to show you how I turned this rough sketch into a finished drawing in under 5 minutes. But the drawing did take more than 10 hours. Anyways, along the way, I'll share some tips and tricks for drawing on Procreate and tell you a little bit more about the inspiration behind this drawing, because it's very personal. In terms of material, I used my 11-inch iPad Gen 2 with an Apple Pencil 2, both bought separately back in 2020. Honestly, one of the best investments I've made. No fancy screen protector, although I know that some people don't like the feel of the stylus on the screen, but it doesn't bother me. For the app, I use Procreate. This is not a sponsored video, but I really like how accessible and affordable the app is. It's just a one-time payment, and that's it. I know that a lot of you still love sketching on paper before importing your drawings on the iPad. That's why I carry with me a notebook and a few fountain pens for both writing and drawing everywhere I go. So when I get inspired, I can quickly jot down the idea. For this drawing, I scribbled a few lines on the notebook, really to put down my initial idea on the composition of the drawing. I then snap a photo with my iPhone and airdrop it to my iPad. But most of the time, I just doodle directly on my iPad. It's easier. I live in Denmark, but sometimes I miss my family gatherings back home in Canada. This drawing recreates a childhood scene of all of us sitting around the dinner table during Mid-Autumn Festival. And in my family, dinner was sacred and we always had to eat together. So, Mid-Autumn Festival is a traditional Chinese celebration that honors the full moon and focuses around the mythology of the moon goddess. There are several variations of it across Asia. It's kind of like Thanksgiving as it symbolizes family reunions, good fortune, and gratitude. You'll notice the mooncakes, the big crab, and also a whole steamed fish. So in between, I switched canvas as I want to print this drawing. So I have to go from a smaller canvas to a bigger one. And if you want to draw for social media or simply have your drawing online, I usually draw on a canvas of 2048 times 2048 at 150 dpi. This one is size A3 at 300 dpi. As the file got bigger, I can only use around 26 layers, so I'll have to be strategic about them. Prioritizing layer is super important. Here you can see that I trace and retrace my sketch until I feel happy with the line work. I'm using the dry ink brush with a streamline setting between 15 to 40%. And for the outer layer, I stick to a 5% brush size, something a little bit thicker. And for the detail, I will go down to 3%, let's say. The pressure sensitivity of the stylus is also great because the brush gives me a nice variation in the line thickness, which we all love. For the color palette, I took inspiration from an older drawing I made of my mom and myself. I wanted each character to feel unique, so I gave everyone different hair colors, even though we all had jet black hair in real life. I found some images on Pinterest also that loosely inspired the palette. Red was an obvious choice since it represents good luck in Chinese culture. I went with a primary palette, that means red, yellows, and blue. It's a great way to catch the eye of the viewer, and also I just like the vibe it gives. It's quite positive. For shading, I duplicate layers and play around with different blend modes. I love using multiply and experimenting with gradient map. Finally, to finish, I added some smoke to give the drawing that cozy, nostalgic vibe of home-cooked meal. And also, I turned our whole house into a fancy traditional tea house. And here's the final drawing. What do you think? Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you like to learn more about Procreate digital art or just like what I do, please do consider following. And for 30-day free on Skillshare, click on this link.